Welcome back, everyone. I'm Son of Evil once again, joined by ChimeraNina for Game 2 of Washed Up vs. Excel in the AEF Season 2 Division 2 games. Welcome back.
Hey, dude.
Baller of a Game 1. Absolute borers of roller coasters, back and forths, no dominant lead. Some in chat were even calling it a 3-2-2.
It was pretty 3-2-2 to be fair of that Morphling. He was kind of just going, nah, these guys can't kill me. These guys can't kill me. Unfortunately, they did kill you, and you did lose the game. But yeah, it was a really intense game. I was really happy with how back and forth these games are going to go. So interested to see how the draft's going to go, whether or not they're going to ban out the Pudge, ban out the Ember Spirit. You know, we'll see how it goes.
Is XL opening up with the Warlock ban again? Washed Up getting rid of the Night Stalker. We'll see whether or not they decide to leave that Pudge in the pool.
10 seconds remaining.
So Eudor was my MVP for last pick, doing a lot of work on that Pudge. It's exact same bands, interestingly. I guess that maybe suggests that it's just two heroes that they don't really want to play against, which is something that we theorized earlier.
Well, XL do have the first pick now, so they're kind of putting the onus on Washed Up. What do you guys want to give us? Do you guys want to give us the Bristleback? Do you guys want to give us the Crystal Maiden? Oh, they banned Ember Spirit, surprisingly. I don't think first picking Ember Spirit is kind of on the cards, but yeah, so this kind of leaves it open to Bristleback, Crystal Maiden, Pudge, you know, kind of whatever they want.
I think it just shows how much Washed Up prioritized that Ember Spirit as having been a problem for them in that last game, and to be fair, it was one of the main reasons that Morphling died every time it did. Like without that Ember.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, whether or not he would have done the same on another hero, but
yeah, as we were saying, Ugaba is very, very good on his Ember Spirit, and he did prove that in that last game, carrying his team to victory by blowing out a Morphling more than once. So yeah, they kind of just like, nah, I'm not going to let him have his Ember Spirit, we're just going to try and not do that. And the Crystal Maiden picked up by Team Expel.
And both teams have ignored the Bristleback.
I think Bristle is like, so many people have played against lots of Bristlebacks now, they kind of understand how to deal with him. You take out his back line, and then you deal with him later. You kind of just try and get behind the enemy, let the Bristleback charge forward, and you just try and get towards the back line, blow up his support crew, and then he kind of doesn't really do anything. So a lot of these teams are just like, yeah, there you go, you can have the Bristleback, we know how to deal with it now. It's not as crazy as what it used to be.
Yeah, and we've seen the Sven being picked up as a pretty hard counter as well. Obviously, the more damage you do, the less, in a single instance, the less Bristleback procs you proc.
Yeah, 100%. So,
interesting picks here by Washed Up, going for two quite versatile picks in the Sand King and the Clockwork. Both have been known to play the offlane and that POS 4 role, but I would expect with these two that's a POS 4 Sand King and a POS 3 Clockwork.
Yeah, they could probably switch it up. Depends how their players like to play it. I've seen a lot of POS 4 Clockworks do a lot of work. Recently with that increased mana to battery assault, kind of means that he can't get 3 or 4 off in one mana pool. Now he can only get 2, I think. So the roaming Clockwork isn't as good as it used to be, but I still think it's pretty strong, especially because Sand King's such a good laner. You can kind of put him in any of these like 1v3s or 1v2s, and he does really well in them. So just interested to see what Washed Up do with it. But Kunkka is picked up from XL, so they pretty much just take the support crew from Washed Up.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's the same opening that Washed Up had last game.
Yeah, it's an extremely strong duo. Like the Crystal Maiden Frostbite into Torrent, and then X, and then into Boat, and it's just, you still a heck of a lot of damage. And it's from two support heroes that can kind of just lock down a lot of these mobile cores. It's exactly what you want. And Kunkka's a great roamer, Crystal Maiden's a great 5, so you know, they just fill so many of these roles that you need from your supports, and it looks like XL kind of prioritized them as much as Washed Up did.
And Kunkka is so good against both Sand King and Clockwork. Like the Torrent to get him out of the Sandstorm, and the Clockwork in the middle of the cogs. Like you can boat him, you can boat both of them as well if you were so inclined. Yeah, Crystal Maiden also very good. You should get the Freezing Field, the Crystal Nova. None of those abilities care whether or not you're invis. You know, as long as you're in that area. So,
They are kind of just turning the tables on Washed Up here, Sinking and Clockwork. Both heroes that kind of want to be in the, just stick into a battlefield. They jump in, they create a battlefield, and they say, this is where we're fighting, and this is where the team fight's going to end. And Kunk and Crystal Maiden both want to do that exact same thing, but a lot of their abilities are a lot stronger, so... Be interested to see if Washed Up go further down that route of more, we're going to stand here and fight you, or if they're going to try and back off a little bit from the team fight and say, oh, we want a bit more mobile cores and stuff like that. So,
do you think Washed Up is looking for a TA here? They've just banned out the Viper, and the Ember Spirit's banned as well.
10 seconds remaining.
I think Crystal Maiden and Kunkka are both
remaining.
okay against Templar Assassin because Torrent does deal instances of damage, same with Frostbite, so
Reserve time.
they are able to burn through a fair amount of those refraction charges, but yeah, TA could be good here, but I think if you pick it third, then you kind of just open yourself up to like some other type of mid that can deal with it really well, like I don't know, Ember Spirit is banned.
Queen of Pain.
Yeah, Queen of Pain's really good, and you can kind of just pick those heroes that don't really care that much about a TA, and then your TA is one of those heroes where it's like, you need to snowball, or otherwise you're not really doing much, so... Maybe a fourth pick TA
So,
here.
yeah, I'm mostly just trying to rationalize that Viper pick. So
I
that
think-
Viper ban.
Yeah, I think it could just be in the same vein of XL kind of look like they want to sit there and team fight, and Viper's a good hero that kind of just
10
puts his feet in the
seconds
ground,
remaining.
stands his ground, and kind of just man fights. So
5 seconds
he would be pretty
remaining.
scary with Kunkkaboat behind him and Crystal Maiden. So yeah, I can see
Reserve time.
the movement towards the TA, but I'm doubtful whether or not they'll pick it third, potentially fourth, if it still is a good pick after XL's third. So they pick Queen.
Radiant team pick.
Okay, I can see that. Viper lanes pretty well against Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
I think maybe they didn't have the Queen of Pain in mind when they banned the Storm Spirit, but I'm fairly certain
10
that Queen of
seconds
Pain
remaining.
just shits on Storm Spirit.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those
Seconds
matchups where
remaining.
it's like, after a certain time, the other hero
Reserve
takes over.
time.
So Queen of Pain is really good against Storm Spirit in these early levels because Storm Spirit doesn't want to be... He kind of just wants to farm his lane, push out his lanes, and... Okay, this is interesting from
Dire
XL.
team pick.
Picking TA into a Queen of Pain, but... Yeah, Storm Spirit's pretty good against Queen later, but in the early stages, yeah, it kind of has a really rough time.
You know, actually, the Shadow Strike isn't as good against TA as I originally thought. It's only damage every
10
3 seconds.
remaining.
Yeah,
So you
that's
don't
fair.
really lose that
5
many
seconds
refraction
remaining.
charges.
Well,
to
how
the
long
Shadow
does
Strike.
early refraction last?
17
Duration
seconds.
is 17 seconds, so...
Reserve time.
You will be able to burn through it, but yeah, as you said, it doesn't burn through it as quickly as we first thought, so... Yeah, I think Queen of Pain Templar Assassin matchup is kind of 50-50 a lot of the time. Like, if Queen of Pain can harass you out, force you to use your refractions at bad times, she can kind of, dumpster on you like she does with a lot of heroes. But Templar Assassin, if you misplay with a blink, Templar Assassin can blow you up pretty easily, so...
Yeah,
See
you have
if,
to be very brave to
Ugaba-
be aggressive.
Yeah, 100%, especially if you're not quite sure if our refraction is back up just yet. So Ugaba, as you said, was a pretty good Templar Assassin, so it should be a pretty interesting matchup once again.
Yeah, if Ugaba had a signature hero, I would struggle to differentiate between his Ember and his TA.
Yeah, so this should be a pretty solid matchup, and they do pick a Jakiro for
Radiant
washed up,
team
so
pick.
this is their position 5. Interesting enough. If Jakiro is a position 5, it's not really that much of a counter on a Templar Assassin. Like, yeah, later on, yeah, but in that same vein, Templar Assassin can one-shot you later on, but you usually pick a Jakiro to try and
10
sit mid and
seconds
help the
remaining.
Queen of Pain, but I don't see any of these other heroes sitting in the lane and helping their
5
position 1.
seconds
So
remaining.
I wonder who they're going to get then, because yeah, they've got these heroes that are fairly decent at roaming
Dire
around.
team back.
So are they going to pick themselves like a very good self-sustaining carry?
the only hero that I could think that could deal well with a Tidehunter would be a Lone Druid. But I'm not quite sure if they pick Lone Druid as their
10
position 1.
seconds remaining.
Especially because it's a bit slow paced compared to XL's
5 seconds
pace that they
remaining.
currently have. Their Templar Assassin, Tidehunter, Kunkka, Crystal Maiden, all heroes that pretty much get one item and go.
Reserve time.
So Tidehunter's going to get his mech, going to get his blink, whatever he feels like, and
Radiant
Templar Assassin's
team
going to get her
back.
blink deso and they're just going to run face at you pretty much. And if you have a lone druid going into that, you kind of just lose the game because lone druid wants to get his Midas, wants to get his Radiance. And if he doesn't have those before, Tide and Templar are trying to push high ground, then you're just screwed.
Remaining.
So I think they're probably just going to put the Jakiro, position 5 top, let him sit, and then just use a lot of his dots as the Templar Assassin counter.
Radiant team pick.
Sven ban. I guess they've maybe just banned him because he's not too bad against Tide. It's a little bit like Bristleback where if you do more damage, like high instances of, I guess lower numbers of very high damage, you don't suffer too badly to that Kraken Shell.
Yeah, definitely. Could also leave them open to a last pick Bristleback. Bristle does deal fairly well against a lot of these heroes. They don't really have the damage to take him down. They can kite him around a little bit, but I think with a Tidehunter, Kunkka, and Crystal Maiden behind him, I think he's pretty strong. So this could be a pretty scary last pick Bristle.
I was actually just about to say that XL grabbed that Bristleback for themselves, but they're going for a Wraith King.
Yeah, boy.
Now
this
is not something that we see very often. This is a very rare gift being given to us by XL.
Wraith King is the most gorgeous position 1 ever, because if you have no way of dealing with him, so what you want to do with the Wraith King is you want to make it so it's really hard for them to kill him once. And Washed Up have huge troubles killing him once. If they pop Sonic Wave and a lot of their ultis on top of the Wraith King, he's going to respawn, and then what are you going to do? You've got this full HP, full mana Wraith King running at you again, and you have no spells. So I think this last pick Wraith King is absolutely insane. This really puts Washed Up on the back foot, trying to figure out what they're going to do to deal with this Wraith King.
The whole XL lineup is, with the exception of maybe the CM, is looking pretty hard to kill right now.
Yeah, definitely. Like, they have Kunkka Boat, they have Tidehunter behind with a mech, have his Ravage, they have Templar Assassin to deal with, and
fraction charges.
I just think this Wraith King is going to absolutely take over the game. I'm really impressed with this last pick Wraith King. I just love seeing Wraith Kings in games where they're like, we have trouble killing you once, and then he just, they'll kill him once, but then he just comes back and just destroys the rest of your team because you have no cooldowns left. And yeah, this is a really good Wraith King game.
And Washed Up, what are they looking for with their last pick here?
They need a carry to try and fight the Wraith King, but the only thing that I can think of is either Ursa or Anti-Mage would be the two, but with Wraith King's 25 talent, he doesn't care about Anti-Mage anymore. Okay. Interesting fact, I'm pretty sure Leash still works while Wraith King's respawning. So I think it doesn't break as Wraith King is respawning.
Right. Okay. So that's interesting. That's a few free seconds worth of stealing.
So that's how it used to work. I haven't seen Razor versus Wraith King in probably since about TI4, the end of TI4, I think. So has been a while since we've seen it, but I'm pretty sure that's how it still works. I don't remember it changing at all. So,
and even then, I think Wraith King was being played as a POS 4 at that time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was. Him and Alchemist were their own position 4s. That was a very weird time for Dota. I think that's when Sven was a support as well. It's just all these Chinese teams are doing really weird stuff with carries. It was weird.
I think I might have remembered seeing a Zai Wraith King.
Yeah, probably. He still is the king, I feel, of just doing random stuff with random heroes. I'm pretty sure he was the first guy to do roaming Monkey King when Monkey King first came out, and everyone was like, oh, he's going to be the best position 1 ever. And then Zai's like, nah. Wait till you see Tree Dance.
I called it from day one. When I saw his ability set, I knew he was a perfect position 4 hero. Now, whether or not everyone chooses to believe me, I called that shit. There's no way a hero that can jump around in the trees and had like a 50% slow from level 1 was not going to be a ganking hero.
That's true. I think that's really what Valve intended, but a lot of people are just like, nah, man, he's got a 300% crit. How isn't he a carry? And then there was all the, I think my favorite was offlane Monkey King. It was like getting rampages at like 3 minutes while people trying to kill you and just getting Jingu stacks. But enough of that. We are into game 2.
So, side swap this time. We'll have a look at who's going to be playing on each team. So, on the Crystal Maiden, we've got Dona. Ugaba, which was Chimera's pick for MVP last game, playing the TA. Eeyador, who was my pick for MVP last game, is going to be on the Kunkka this time, so we'll see if Nutty's able to hit torrents like he hits hooks, and if he does, we'll be in for an exciting game. Young Scrim going to be playing the offlane Tidehunter. Wraith King being played by Big Red. Moving over to Washed Up. On the Razor, we've got Shep at home. Mid Queen of Pain being played by Curry Puffs. Clockwork being played by Dark Destronova. Sand King being played by Suckondees. And last but not least, on Jakiro, we have Birdie.
Yeah, so I don't think we touched on this, but Suckondees is the actual player for Washed Up, and looks like Pengu had to step out for this game. I don't remember seeing anything in chat about this, but yeah, Pengu's not playing, and we have Curry Puffs, who was the offlaner in the last game, playing mid for them now, while Suckondees is playing the offlane Sand King. So interested to see how these boys play now with the new player back in.
Is a great conductor.
Just one thing I want to talk about is this this support duo. So we have Clockwork and Jakiro. Like with a Razor, this could be very, very scary. If Clockwork's able to get on top of people and just cogs them in, or even just battery assault, and allow the Razor to use his pretty high move speed to just get on top of people and just suck that damage. But this is like Tidehunters decide to not even come to lane.
Looks like they had a pretty fair idea that this Jakiro was going to be babysitting mid. You know, they've got the Kunkka here, just as some backup. I don't know if he's going to be able to do a whole lot to stop this Jakiro from harassing Ugaba, though.
Yeah, Jakiro's just going to throw Liquid Fire every time it's off cooldown and just try and keep Ugaba's refraction charges down. But he did get Meld level 1 trying to dodge that, but unfortunately he didn't get it off. So Curry Puffs is going to have a pretty free lane here, it looks like it. And
yeah, Young Scrim, he's dodged that lane completely. He's got Anchor Smash, he's got Iron Talon, some tangos. He's going straight to jungle. He wants none of that Razor.
I think it's a pretty smart move. Like you saw the supports as Clockwork and Jakiro, and as a Razor as well. Like you just don't want to be in that lane. You're just like, nah, man.
Shit, Birdie nearly died trying to stack that camp. Got absolutely destroyed by those Prowlers. Did you see his HP?
Dude, those Prowlers are broken. Like
he was full when he pulled that camp.
Those things are so disgusting, and like the minus armor, and it's just I hate them so much.
Can Valve please scale that ability?
Big support. It's like gross. Like no matter what you play, core support, whatever, and you try and stack that camp or try and take it, you just stay away from it. It's like the old mud golems where a lot of heroes like Storm Spirit and stuff just couldn't take them because they were just impossible to kill.
He's not going to stack it again. He's learned his lesson the first time. He's going to leave it. He's going to grab the large camp instead.
Oh, you missed it, unfortunately. Yeah, I think the stacking is alright. He kind of is just trying to keep the Kunkka here, trying to make sure that the Wraith King doesn't have a super easy lane against the Sand King. So Sand King is doing pretty well against him. He does have only 3 last hits, but he should be able to pressure out the Wraith King as much as possible.
You see what's going on in the mid lane here with these creeps?
What is going on?
There's two full rows of dire creeps.
I have no idea how that happens, but feels good, man, for Ugaba.
I missed it. I have no idea how that happened. Where did they come from?
No idea. I actually don't understand why that happens, but so it looks like Dark Destronova is going to try and make the first rotation. I was wondering to see what he was going to do because there's no real point in him, like anybody even being top of the Razor. Like if they see that the Tide's jungling, he is starting to come back top now. But if you like this Razor, should be able to just keep his lane as static as possible and just force the Tide to stay in the jungle or come defend his tower. So yeah, I just want Clockwork to try and do something. It's going to be pretty hard for him to get any ganks off, but I think Templar Assassin is probably the easiest one, to be honest.
Yeah, he's really going to struggle to like... I don't see how he catches this TA with the position that this lane is in. He's really just sort of, I guess, wasting his time at the moment, but yeah, maybe he'll get lucky and find this Tidehunter.
Yeah, I think he might just be trying to soak some experience. Does he see him there? No, he doesn't. So he's waiting on Birdie, so Birdie
they found him now. He's got the cogs, he's got the battery assault. He's going to walk him walk him down at the moment, but in comes the Kunker. The backup's here, but is he going to be able to escape? He's got the Tide, he's got the Kraken Shell doing some work. And trying to turn it around now. Battery Assault off cooldown. He's very low on HP. The X Mark is going to bring the Chikiro back, but unfortunately, Chikiro is going to go down. And we'll see whether or not Kunker's able to get himself off a torrent. Oh, not quite. Is juked out, and that's all that they've got. Is he able to pick up this kill on the Chikiro? He is able to get it. The Clockwork, he doesn't have the Battery Assault. Power Cog's back up in a second, and I think maybe Eeyore just looks to deny himself. Wow, jukes him out onto the high ground. Very well played, but he does have the boots of speed. He might be able to get away here. He does have the move speed advantage. Wow. Eeyore.
Eeyore's a god, dude. He is
what a player.
He probably could have kept juking for a bit more, but didn't want to risk it. Just fell back there, and Dark Dash Nova not being able to
in
get
comes
that
the
off.
flare. Oh, not quite on the mark.
Dude, Carapace is getting so low. Oh.
Get out,
So we did have an invis
back
room
up
there by Donor. Oh no.
Ooh, he's got the refraction charges, so I think he's going to be fine here. Not at risk of being blown up by the Scream of Pain.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice rotation there by Donor. Did have an invis rune trying to blow up Carapace. Unfortunately, didn't have the damage for it, and there was a good TP rotation from Suck on Days. So that leaves Wraith King to be pretty free bottom and have a pulse. So it gives us some time to talk about the Wraith King build. What's your favorite Wraith King build?
My favorite, not necessarily the best. It's the good old Midas Rush. But if I've got to fight, I like to go Power Treads, Armlet, Blink Dagger, and then Desolator.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
nice.
maybe Echo Saber.
I think probably this game he might want to do the good old Blade Mail build. I think it gives him a lot of armor against the Razor. Kind of just what Razor wants to do is, as he's dealing damage, he wants to auto attack you at the same time with Eye of the Storm. So if you're blade mailing and just getting away from the Razor, it's either Razor has to tank the blade mail damage.
Oh, in the
walk
top
away.
lane, they've found themselves the Tide Hunter. He is cogged up, and Scream's going to be committed. Kunker in trouble now, is getting run down by the Clockwork. Battery Assault's going to finish up, but now, who's got the move speed advantage? It's the Clockwork. He's got the boots of speed. He's got the wind lace. He's just going to run him down and finish him off with a couple of right clicks. Ugabba living through the assault.
Yeah, Ugabba almost went down there to more Prowlers. But they're kind of just putting so much hate on young Scream right now. He's just trying to farm up, but they're just like, no way, we're letting our Razor free farm top, and you're not getting anything out of the jungle. So
They remember what happened last game. They remember what happened to Brewmaster last game.
Yeah, pretty much. They're just like, nah, not like this. So you have another pause.
The
Birdie.
tactical pause.
Birdie could be in trouble here. They do have an X mark, but
I think he
Razor is
lives.
rotating through the river.
You've got
This
Razor,
could be bad. There is Eye of the Storm on the Razor as well.
and just up behind them is Clockwork as well. There's no way that they kill this Jakiro, and I think they probably even lose both their lives here as well.
So they may try and trade themselves Jakiro for the boys, but it looks like Eeyore does.
Yeah,
just get
Kunker
away
trying
with
to
a lot of
run out
move
now,
speed.
but the battery assault and the slow from Jakiro probably going to
Oh,
be
no,
enough.
the shrine.
Does pop the shrine. He's going to try and get himself out now, but there's Cogs keeping him in just long enough. Another right click from Razor should secure the kill. Razor's going to give him the vision that they need. Razor now just popping the Eye of the Spawn, backing up. Wraith King leaving the bot lanes, decides to rotate in. Now Cog's going to push both of them back, allow them to disengage, and Queen of Pain.
I
Get out
thought
just
that
to
Red
the
King
end
was going to come in and just clean house, but good cogs there from Dark Dash Nova, making sure that Wraith King can't get in on top of anybody, burning a bit of his mana too. So they got a free Conk kill. They only they didn't even lose their Jakiro for that, so only had to commit Eye of the Storm. And Razor's going to go in for a Henamitis, surprisingly. I don't think Henamitis is one of those great items on Razor. Like, to be fair, yeah, he doesn't farm that great, but I think if you get some items like the Power Treads and a Dragon Lance, maybe a Drum, Sergeant Yasha like that, you can kind of just he can just fight and constantly push in the towers, whereas
Oh, down on the bot lane, Wraith King manages to pick up a kill on the Sand King. He had no mana, didn't have the Sandstorm, couldn't borrow strike in. Wraith King just walks up with the Wraith Fire Blast, throws it on him, tried to TP out, but
damn, well played by the Wraith King. So it looks like Big Red is going to go in towards that Blink Dagger. Want to be a bit more aggressive. He may have... No, he hasn't bought anything yet, but going back to the Razor build, I don't think Midas on Razor is that great. Especially because Razor's one of those heroes that wants to be like really up in your face. And I just think Midas like delays him so much that he kind of loses his peak. Because Razor's peak is 25-30 minutes when he has 2 or 3 items and kind of just run at your towers, but looks like we do have an engage on bottom. What heroes rotating for this?
Clockwork 405 move speed. He's looking for that Kunkka. Jeez, he's Dark Destroyer has eyes for Eodor.
Oh, no,
Shakira
so it
gets
looks like...
stunned up. Couple right clicks, gonna do the job. Destroyer now on the run. Drops the cogs and Kunkka running into them twice. Draining his mana.
That's the worst. That is actually the worst. You go in, you get hit by one, you're like, yeah, whatever. Then you go and try and get some free farm, and then you end up hitting another one, and you're like, I just lost like 400 mana. Thanks a lot, Clockwork. It's actually the worst, but yeah. So both these teams being extremely aggressive towards each other. Haven't really seen a lull in the action just yet, but
Radiant's top tower is under
yeah, just interesting to see which team
found
hits
himself
it.
TA in the mid lane. The Scream is committed. Almost gets the return kill on the Clockwork, but thanks to the Sonic Wave, they're able to take down Ugaba.
Was that a... Did he just walk in on the TA? How did he catch the TA?
Just walked in from the high ground from behind us. She was sitting down in the river, and they just didn't see him.
Thought they may have seen him with a couple of these wards, but apparently
Yeah,
not.
they have this one here, but I'm not quite sure how they missed that. Sorry, how that missed him.
Yeah, so unfortunately TA going down there. But yeah, I was going to say, I'm interested to see which team's the first team that groups up. Both these teams have extremely group up, pushy teamfight teams, so I think probably the Tide is a fair way away from his Blink Dagger, so maybe when they get the Ravage, when they get the...
Oh, he's about to get even further away now as the Clockwork once again finds him. They're looking for some return here, though. TA coming in, she's got the haste, so the static link isn't going to last too long, but he is able to steal 126 bonus damage, so she will still be useful for about 40 damage, and the slows and some negative armor. They're going to run it down now with the CM getting Frostbite out, followed up with the Torrent, and that's a kill, and with this, they might look to secure themselves the top lane.
Yeah, those Torrents were actually really insane. It landed like a heck of a lot, considering he's not using X that much, and it is a fairly low level, so he had to just free ball that that Torrent. Did connect on the Razor, and that's a pretty big pickup for them. Razor was probably sitting somewhere up near the top of the network. He still currently is, and that TA is getting very, very close to... Do you know if Ugaba goes Blink Dagger first or Desolator first?
I think we'll see a Desolator.
Okay. So once they pick up that Desolator, they can kind of just put the Wraith King on the front lines. TA can jump in the back, hit as many people as she wants. So Razor getting another link onto the Wraith King. Nothing comes of it.
Oh, not yet. But in comes Clockwork. He does have the power cogs, 3 points in battery salt. He's got the hookshot now as well.
Yeah, I don't think they want to go on the Wraith King. They saw that he still had enough mana for a Wraith Fire Blast and ulti, and he had 1 charges as well. So we would probably have to get him to run into 2 cogs before he was out of mana. So they decided not to go on it. Pretty smart idea. He's getting extremely close to his Blink Dagger though, so it looks like this Wraith King is going to be very, very aggressive, very, very early.
I almost feel like I think Ugaba normally likes to grab the Desolator, but I mean, if both of those heroes, like, I've always felt that Blink Daggers compound other Blink Daggers.
Yeah, definitely. No, excuse me.
Ooh, we'll see what he gets soon. They've got a huge stack of Ancients here, and unfortunately we missed the Kunkka. It looks like Sankey managed to pick that up himself.
It was
revealing that Blink
Epicenter
Dagger.
used Mega Reveal on Sarkodis as well. Kunkka goes down. Clockwork being able to snipe that from across the map too, but yeah, as you were saying, multiple Blink Daggers definitely do complement each other. if you have one hero jumping in, you can kind of just follow up with a lot more, unless you have these long-range spells. And I think it probably would be smart for him to go to the Desolator so they have a bit more damage coming out on top of the Razor and the Queen of Pain, but it wouldn't be bad either way, you know? If he goes Blink Dagger, that's fine. If he goes Desolator, that's fine as well, so... It's interesting to see what he does after taking this massive Ancient Sack that he does have currently going for himself.
Yeah, they're going to look to grab that any moment now. So in on the mid lane, Queen of Pain getting committed on pretty hard. They dropped the boat, they dropped the Ravage, and they managed to blow her up with the help from the double damage on the TA. Looking to go back in now and perhaps save their Wraith King who's been gone on. They do lose the bottom tower, but making quick work of that Razor. He is going to be able to live long enough, I think, to survive, and TA gets killed by the flare coming out from the Clockwork.
Dude, that Bar Strike from fucking D's was insane. Hitting both heroes straight up, and this Razor is hitting like an absolute truck right now. 210 solid damage from that Razor.
He managed to trap the Wraith King
ham
as well. Going after the Tidehunter next is the next victim. Very low on HP. Blink in from the Sand King. Not enough mana to be able to get the stun, but the right click from the Razor manages to secure the job for them.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that was really well done by them using the Rocket Flare to get that last bit of vision for the Tidehunter. No, there was no Ravage, so they kind of just dove as hard as they could. Another tier 1 coming up from this. This is the last tier 1 for the boys of XL, and this Razor is getting extremely fat. Hazzy's Midas has 1600 gold, so potentially probably going into a Dragonlance from here, I'd imagine. Just trying to tank up and deal as much damage as possible.
Yeah, the Washed Up boys now up to a 5k net worth lead. Nearing 6k actually.
Did they just 5-man take a double Ancient Sack?
Yes. They also got the efficiency of a 5-man Shrine.
Oh wow, that was insane.
Big long-range hook shot onto the Kunkka. Drops the boat on top of himself, but it's going to come too late for the run buff to really do anything, but does manage to get a little bit of damage onto the Clockwork. I guess it's a small consolation.
Yeah, he did do a bit of damage there, but that beautiful ward. Lovely ward here up on the Ancients. Was able to hit pretty much maximum range, but they're going to go into on the Wraith King here. He doesn't have his ultimate for another 135 seconds, so this could potentially mean the position 1 going down.
Freebie. Ice Path connects and the kill gets picked up by Clockwork with the right click. Razor in from behind, drops the static link. In comes the big pigs, stunned by the Razor, and the Queen of Pain committing the ultimate as well. Theodore on the run, walks into the Ice Path, getting run down by the Clockwork. Then Curry Puffs picks up the kill for himself, and wow, that's a 5-for-0 trade. AK net worth now in favor of Washed Up, and this tower might be the easiest one that they ever take.
Dude, I need my "they're all dead" voice line.
I got it. They're all dead!
That was extremely well played by the boys who Washed Up. Razor pincering in from the back, Clockwork trying to cut off the Wraith King from his Crystal Maiden. They just knew that there wasn't any Wraith King ult, there wasn't any Ravage, so they just couldn't fight. And yeah, this is one of the downfalls of XL's draft. If Wraith King doesn't have his ultimate, if there's no Ravage, and TA doesn't have a damage items yet, they just don't really do anything. They just get run at and just die to these heroes like the Razor and the Queen of Pain. All have extremely low cooldown. Same with the Clockwork, and you know the boys from Washed Up just keep fighting and fighting and fighting, and XL just can't keep up.
I'll take your...
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they do have some decently long cooldowns, but they don't necessarily have to fight around the cooldowns in the same way that XL Gaming do. And TA looks like she's going in for that Blink Dagger too.
Yeah, realizing that she kind of needs to be a bit more aggressive, try and get a lot more of these picks. So Blink Dagger trying to complement the one on the Wraith King, and hopefully this Wraith King can start building into some items right now. Might be going into potentially something like a Heaven's Halberd or something would be pretty good against the Razor.
Oh, Clockwork. He might catch TA trying to do this stack. She does eke out that someone's there. Drops the Sonic Trap. Don't know if they've scattered each other yet. Just playing around right, at least for the moment. But in comes the Kunkka. Yeah, they know he's there. They drop the stun. Torrent's gonna connect only just by the right clicks. He's got the blade mail, but when 5 people are hitting you, there's only so much you can really do about that.
Yeah, that was a good pick off for them. Clockwork being a little bit over aggressive there. Nice ward as well. So they have the Ravage up again, so they might be trying to fight one more time. Wraith King has his ultimate up as well, so this is pretty much go time for XL. Need to try and find a few more pickoffs. They really need to try and push into some of these towers, but with the Razor pushing in bottom at this tier 2, like knocking on their tier 2, they need to either address the Razor or they need to apply a lot more pressure on the other side of the map so the Razor can fall back here. But he's coming up extremely close on that Sergeant Yasha. He's going to be so scary.
And might I add, I am extremely relieved that TA is finally taking this stack, but Clockwork, his nose in the area, hookshot out, gets the Kunker. TA trying to work her way in there to provide some backup.
They might have to commit the Ravage here. There are 2 heroes that Link just get broken straight away.
Cancel.
But in comes the Sand King.
Sand King salvaging things, managing to pick up the kill on the TA. The stack quite low. It looks like they'll be able to secure it for themselves now that the TA is down. But in the meantime, they do want that Tide Hunter first. Blink off cooldown. Stun does connect. In comes the Razor. Tide Hunter living at least for the moment, but there's a Jakiro.
Yeah, I think these games are pretty much over. The boys of XL, it's really, really hard for them to come back. TA tried to do her best to get inside those cogs, but unfortunately couldn't do it. Big Red is going on a curry pass right now. He's not going to be able to kill her, but...
Yeah, there's just no way you turn that into a kill. I mean, you only got that 1-2 stun on the Wraith King, and you can't kill her, the Queen of Pain, in that time.
I think maybe if he gets a couple of crits, but that'll be pushing his luck. So I think they kind of just missed their timings with the Wraith King. I think with the Wraith King, you want to use your first Wraith King ulti pretty much to secure a tower. So what you want to do is you want to get your power treads, get your level 6, walk into your team, pretty much feed your life after using a couple abilities, respawn, and then take the fight and take it to your line. And unfortunately, Big Red was not able to make his rotations on this Wraith King. He's going to go into, looks like a Mjolnir coming out for him, and I'm not quite sure that's going to be helpful against the Razor, who currently has a Midas, Sanjin Yasha, and 1600 gold on top of that. So this Razor is going to be, he's going to be so hard to kill. I don't think they even have the damage to kill him, even in a Ravage.
You know, I believe we said that once before. Slightly different circumstances, but I distinctly remember us making that claim once before, and oh jeez, we were wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit wishy-washy with the good old "they can't kill him" phrase, so maybe I should take it a bit more serious.
But we weren't looking at a 15,000 gold deficit in that game.
Definitely, this Razor is 4k, or pretty much 3k on top of the TA, so he does have a fairly big farm gap on front of her, so I'm going to be interested to see what he goes into. Maybe a BKB just to try and end out the game, or he can go into a, probably just a Shivas, or, he can pretty much buy whatever he wants right now and it'll be fine.
Do you think he could look for an Aghanims? That's just going to help them with these high ground pushes?
Yeah.
Which I think is something that they lack a little bit. Like, without damage on Razor, he doesn't really hit towers. Like, no one on their team really hits towers.
Yeah, that's true. I think in the same vein, what they want is, so they either want an item for the Razors to hit towers, so Desolator Axe, or looks like Conky has blown up one more time, and it's either he needs to have to win a team fight, or he needs to just be tanky and hit towers. So either Aghanims, BKB, Shivas. I think you can get either of those 3 and it'll be perfectly fine. But yeah, I think they all have their value, to be honest. I don't think either one is the perfect option. But yeah, it just depends on how they want to play. Some Razors don't like going the Aghanims build because it kind of limits you on an item slot just for a bit of tower pushing when you can get, a Shivas or whatever.
It looks like he's going in for the BKB as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's pretty much washed up, just noticing the fact that this Razor is really hard to kill, and the only way that he does die if he gets caught in Ravage. So if he BKBs and runs at the enemy team, I don't think there's anything they can do. 10-second BKB Razor running at your TA with her linked up, or the Wraith King linked up, it kind of just limits a lot of their damage output.
You're a bit just baiting out the static link. Both sides just dancing around each other at the moment, and Queen of Pain split pushing in top. Looks like she might go high ground now, try and get a little bit more chip damage. Crystal Maiden standing in the danger zone, I think. Up on the high ground, pulling those creeps back. Just trying to pull them off the tower, and Razor just sieging, but here comes Ugabar. They're looking for something, but
yeah, this is pretty interesting considering that maybe they don't realize how far ahead they are, but I think they should understand by now how far ahead they actually are. If they just push forward, just try and take into one of these towers, I think even if they do get Ravaged, they should be able to win it. Just put the Razor on the front line, let him hit the towers for a bit and, you know, just let him get a link off. But it looks like
Razor,
they're
going in for the big combination. Doesn't have the blade mail, so their BKB out yet, but in comes the hook shot from the Clockwork, connects onto the Kunkka once again. Sand King, unfortunately, isn't able to get the epicenter to connect onto anyone. XL just backing up now, and that's quite a few ultimates on cooldown for Washed Up. I think maybe they look to back up here. But in goes Sand King, manages to get the stun onto the TA. She is stunned up, does get the refraction charge off, but just quickly she gets them off. They're burned down once again, and now Washed Up in a pretty good position to start taking this tower. A little bit of stolen damage is going to help him right-click that tower down. Dodges out the torrent. Sand King just zoning back.
Yeah, this could be a tier 3 coming up for Washed Up.
Queen of Pain isn't even there.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, Queen of Pain's top. She went top. She tried to bait out as much as she could from the Wraith King. Unfortunately, didn't get anything. Torrent hits 2 though.
Radiant's top
They might be
tower
able to
is
pick
under
up
attack.
some kills on the back end of this. They still have Ravage, so this could be good.
Oh, another X marks combination manages to connect onto the Clockwork. 4 staffs away. Gonna save him from now. Hook shots out onto the Razor as the Sand King goes in and drops the stun. Does get X mark the spot back, and in comes the Queen of Pain. She's got a haste. She's on speed. Drops the Sonic Wave. Manages to pick up the Tidehunter. Wraith King doing the best that he can right now. No mana for the reincarnation, though. Sand King blinks on the back lines, manages to pick up a kill on the Crystal Maiden. Sand King now looking for a little bit more Ugamba, just dancing around, trying to zone them back, maybe try and pick up a lucky kill, but in comes the Sand King with the long range stun onto the TA, just turning it back. Another torrent combination, gonna miss onto the... Oh, Ninja Blink out, manages to keep her alive just for now, and Kunkka doing his best.
19 seconds left on the Wraith King. They don't have Ravage, so I think the boys Washed Up are going to be pretty happy with getting a full line of racks. Out comes
Oh,
the
in
X,
comes
and in
the
comes
That
Epi.
fight's been going so long, he's got another epicenter. And they managed to get the Kunkka here, thanks to the hook shot of the Clockwork, managing to finish things up.
Yeah, the Kunkka goes down one more time. 20 seconds left.
But they're going to hang around.
By Razor, though.
It's 24k net worth lead. Your Ravage is on cooldown. Are they looking for another objective here? Like, I don't see them going for any towers. Are they just trying to farm kills right now?
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of taunting the boys from XL. Kind of want to get a bit of a bit of face back from their first game after what some might call a 3-2-2. They are trying to, you know, put the smack down on the boys of XL, but they decide to leave the base now. It's a good idea. They can just push into the rest of these towers, take Roshan, and the game is theirs to lose right now.
Oh, another X-Mark combination. The 4-staff nearly putting them up on the high ground. Razor drops the ultimate, and the static link draining all the damage from the Wraith King, just running him down. Manages to pop the ultimate. Kunkka gets hookshotted in by this Clockwork. He seems to only have eyes for Eeyore. Wraith King getting absolutely destroyed here, and the kill goes the way of Shep. Tidehunter now running away. Razor, you could almost dive that well, and he's gonna go in. Oh, and that kill goes the way of the shrine. In fact, it's not the shrine, the fountain.
That was pretty close there. Razor really wanted that last kill there, but unfortunately does go down to the fountain. And only one lane of racks has gone down, so this could be winnable here.
Oh, I don't know. Tidehunter, he's got a lot of damage onto him. Not much left. Sand King, they do have vision of him, I think. No, he's just during the fade time, and he's going to be able to escape. Ugaba back on the run. Ice Path comes out, so does the Sand King stun. Just a little bit off track, but the slow is going to be enough as this Queen of Pain blinks in, manages to pick up the kill. X marks torrent combination onto the Sand King. Manages to heals himself up, so he's not going to die just yet. Kunkka the one.
This fight's going on for so long.
Oh, jeez, it's never going to end. It's been going on for so long. There's yet another epicenter. That's 3 epicenters
so
we've seen.
4 heroes have gone down for the boys of Washed Up. Queen of Pain's and 1 left. Wraith King does get used up. Doesn't have his ultis. This could be bad. Crystal Maiden just ultis the creeps in.
Oh, what else do you do? She can't get one off in a team fight, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, 2 lanes of racks go down for the boys of XL, unfortunately. They were trying to fight back there, but 24k net worth lead. The game isn't over yet. but it's very, very hard for them to come back into this.
I mean, these net worth charts tell a bit of a story, don't they? Where the Jakiro is above your offlaner, the Pos 5 Jakiro is above your offlaner.
Dude, Jakiros do work. They snipe all the tower kills with a stupid liquid fire. Just triggering. Like, you're trying to be a position 1, trying to last hit this tower, and this Jakiro throws his liquid fire, and you're like, God damn it. He's gotten the last hit.
Destron over on the Pos 4 Clockwork ahead of the Pos 1 Wraith King.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think it's pretty hard times for the boys from XL here. Not really hitting their timings with their draft. They kind of wanted to probably be the aggressors. They didn't really expect to lose their lanes like this. They expected the Tidehunter to be in the jungle, but Clockwork and Jakiro really did a absolutely great job at just hunting down this Tidehunter non-stop and just making it so he didn't just have free farm in the jungle. So I'm going to push into this last lane here. Razor pretty jacked up right now. Has his BKB back up. Dragonlance as well. So good luck to the boys of XL trying to take him down.
Doesn't even care. 4-star Finn onto the Tidehunter, looking to take him out nice and early. He's going to be forced to pop the Ravage here, but they've got the BKBs, and this is going to kill him anyway. Boogabar now trying to run away. 4-star's out. In comes the Queen of Pain. They're going to be able to take him down. Wraith King getting Yuled up. They're looking for another kill. Does have the ultimate on cooldown, but it's not going to matter. They're just going to burst him down super fast. And then they'll do it again in a second.
Yeah, this looks like pretty much game over. This Wraith King couldn't really take over the game. Got a fairly late Blink Dagger, and by that time that he had Blink Dagger, Razor pretty much had his son, Yasha and Midas, so just not really taking over the game that they wanted to. I think XL kind of wanted to be the aggressors, wanted this TA to do pretty well, get an early Blink Dagger and get the Blink Dagger on the Wraith King, and them just kind of run it washed up, but this didn't really work out like that. Tidehunter, unfortunately, did get caught out a fair bit in the jungle, so it was really well played by Washed Up, though.
Yeah, and Washed Up taking game 2 in a very convincing fashion from start to finish. It never really felt like XL had a chance to breathe just under this relentless onslaught.
Yeah, definitely. It just felt like the Jakiro and the Clockwork were just constantly moving around the map. Always had mana, always had HP, and were just hunting down this Tidehunter. It felt like the Tidehunter almost never had, like, took him forever to get his Ravage. So the support duo from Washed Up did a heck of a lot of work that game, and hopefully they can continue it into game 3.
Yeah, if last game was the roller coaster, this one looks a little bit more like the giant drop.
Yeah, definitely a lot more Washed Up favoured this game.
So Washed Up taking game 2, which is going to take the series to game 3, and hopefully we can get a bit more of a closer match like we got in game 1. So thank you everyone for sticking around as long as you have, and we'll catch you in another few minutes for game